Hi, welcome. This is the first podcast we're trying to do. This is me interviewing people I know. Today I'm interviewing Chris Bales, and we're going to discuss things about where he grew up, why he joined the army, why he left the army, what he's done since then, and anything else that crops up, really. So let's get on with it. Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, Andy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Right, so the first questions really we want to go into is talk about your early life, where you grew up, what it was like. Was any big memorable experiences from there?
So I was born in Ashton, but I moved away as a young child up into Northumberland. I lived at a place called Netherwhitton to start with. Where
Never heard of it.
Netherwhitton. It's
never heard of
near, just outside of Morpeth.
Oh, it's not far.
Long Horsley Way.
Alright, yeah.
Where my dad worked as a gamekeeper, my mum worked for the Lord of the Manor round there, who is Trevelyan, who now own, I believe she's mayor or something around here somewhere. Or she's the MP.
Yeah. I've never heard of it. So Lord of the Manor, so it's like very 1950s
Yeah.
sort of thing. Upstairs, downstairs and all that.
Kind of. But then from that, progressed to a castle.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling us years back you grew up in Chillingham Castle, didn't you? Is it Chillingham Castle?
It was Chillingham, yeah. My mum worked in the tea rooms and my dad got the a manager's job. So with it being a tourist attraction, needs to be managed during season and maintained out of season.
Yeah.
So we spent a good few years living in there.
I mean, that's famous for all the ghost hunting and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, they did a bit while I was there. So to give you a rough time frame, the team that came up when I was young were Sarah Green and Simon Mayo. From
Simon
Radio
Mayo?
1.
I don't remember him doing it.
From Radio 1.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember Sarah Green doing it with Derek Acora.
Derek Acora was years later.
Yeah.
But no, Sarah Green...
He never came back to prove anything, did he?
No. What was Sarah Green and Simon Mayo, and then towards the time that I was leaving the castle, I'm not sure how old I was when they did the first real televised one, and it was Julie Goodyear who arrived in a horse-drawn carriage in a bloody full get-up.
Oh yeah, Coronation Street, Betlinge, yeah. Fair enough.
It was like appeared out of the fog.
So you enjoyed living in the castle then, did you?
Loved it. It's a random place to call home.
Yeah, true.
Not a lot of people, many people can.
So where were you going to school then?
Alnwick. Well, I started off at Chatton First School.
Yeah.
Which is the very it's Chatton CV First School. I don't even think it's open anymore. It was pretty much a school just for people in that village, maintained by people from that village.
Sounds like the League of Gentlemen.
Very much so. Then middle school in Muller.
Yeah.
And high school in Alnwick.
So when did you end up in Ashington then?
I was Ashington before
Right.
first school, so it was like my very early years I was living in Ashington. So I didn't really get to form any friendships and lifelong links to this area, but all my immediate family, their relatives live here still.
Yeah.
Here and about. In Stakeford and places like that.
Where?
Stakeford.
Stakeford. Yeah, let's not go into that one. Right, so when did you join the army then? So, and what made you want to join the army? Considering you lived out in the sticks and stuff like that, you know, fancy following in your father's footsteps, gamekeeping and stuff like that. So what made you want to join the military instead?
I really enjoyed my time in cadets, and I know the army wasn't the same, but I first approached the careers office at 14 and got told I was too young. Couldn't go in at that point, but they did let me know at that point that so this would have been 1996, that in 1998 the Army Foundation Colleges was opening, which was basically junior leaders reforming.
I remember it when it opened.
Yeah.
Because I did junior leaders, I joined 85. And I went to junior leaders in 85.
So I was accepted into the foundation college, but they had too much of an intake in the January.
Yeah.
So I joined the... No, sorry. Basically, I went in 1998. They had too much of an intake the back end of 97.
Yeah,
Or the
because it was a new thing.
97.
There were
Yeah.
too many people joining. I bet they don't have that trouble now, do they? So your time at Harrogate, did you enjoy that?
It was an experience. It's an experience that's informed the person that I am. So back then, they didn't. I can't remember I was too young to remember the reasons that junior leaders closed.
It was just cut.
All right. Well, when the Army Foundation College opened, it opened under. I know they didn't quite know how far to push people, and there wasn't all the mental health side of things that there is now, and they pushed some people a bit too far, and
Yeah, but when you can say that in any type of training,
you could.
you know, you've got to push people far. You've got to break them down and build them back up again. But you know, it's like you say though. I think they were learning. But,
Yeah.
I mean, they knew what they were doing because every branch had a junior leaders before that, and they all closed just due to the cuts. Options for change in the 90s. That was all part of that, I believe. I might be wrong, but I think that's what it was down to.
I know. At the time, though, I know there was a few. I wouldn't call it death by misadventure. The people that hadn't quite caught.
Yeah, I kind of remember them.
And one, I'm not sure if I've ever really discussed it with you. I tried it.
Well, you weren't very good at it. Good.
Exactly.
Gladly.
My only memory of it really is I remember a sergeant poking us in the ribs with a stick, fucking saying, I can't even kill myself properly.
Sympathy of the devil and all that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, you've never told me that before, so I didn't know. Do you want to talk about that bit, or do you want to carry on?
Well, there's not really much to talk about. I felt really low at the time.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be there. Didn't, for some reason, took it into my head that I didn't want to continue life.
Was it down to homesickness or bullying or?
Probably a combination of all.
Yeah.
It's something that I wouldn't really talk about because, like, blokes don't generally talk about this sort of thing.
Well, I mean,
but since
as we'll find out later, you are in that area now of your life where you understand where people should be doing that, and you encourage
which is informed why I do speak about this, and it's probably informed why I do what I do now.
Yeah. So when after Harrogate, you'd have gone down to Lark Hill to do your trade training. So anyway, going back to when you joined up, why did you pick the artillery? Or was it just that there was a space?
So the honest reason was I passed out as a Fusilier.
All right, okay. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Passed out of the Army Foundation College as a Fusilier, and was stood on the pass out parade, which another story was, the night before the pass out parade, we all went to the Naffy Bar and watched, let's say, an adult movie. I promise this does come back to the whole thing. And the next day, when the pass out parade it was the biggest pass out parade in the history of the place because it was 3 companies passing out at the same time. Channel 5 were there recording it. And lo and behold, the brass band that was there playing the music started playing the music that was on said adult film.
Right,
so
okay.
we're all trying there not to crease.
Oh.
And it was during this time of trying not to absolutely burst out laughing that I came to me thinking, I don't want to be cannon fodder. So from the pass-off parade, I marched straight to the company sergeant major at the time.
Yeah.
I said, I didn't want to go Fusiliers. You know, where do you want to go? Someone went and get a trade. He said, well, artillery.
So he lied to you.
Yeah. So yeah, I went the artillery.
Right, so I'm just going to grab a beer. Hang on. Do you want one?
Go on, yeah.
I know. not a bad introduction. Starting off roadie on the beer. So you moved from there. You decided to join the artillery. You didn't have a good time at Harrogate. Was it any better at Larkhill? For those who don't know, when you Larkhill, when you join the artillery, you go to Larkhill to do your trade training, whether it be on the guns, signals, logistics, or whatever. So when you leave basic training or leave Foundation College Harrogate, you then go to Larkhill to do your training.
Larkhill was an informative time. I did a lot of courses there. I was meant to. Well, I did the RA drivers course, which was I believe 4-tonner at the time.
Right.
And the day that I was meant to sit my test, one of my friends had been caught for driving without insurance. So I went to court with him. I informed the course tutor, but then when I came back, they said that I failed to turn up to the course. So I got binned off it. Just before then, I had to wait months and months and months before they were running a different course.
It's like a recurring thing goes through your
Yes.
career, isn't it? Yeah.
So I had to wait months and months before I could get into another course. And then I chose to do the signals side of things, which we'll find out later how that went.
Well, I mean, when I joined up, I joined junior leaders, went in through and did wanted to do signals, but was told I was too stupid, and ended up on the guns. I mean, later in years, I ended up doing signals, which is what I'd always wanted to do anyway. But I mean, when I joined up, I was joining the Air Corps, Army Air Corps, and we used to have to go down to Sutton Coldfield then to do an assessment, do a 3-day course type thing, and it was on there that you do your final tests and your physical assessment and stuff like that. And they basically told me, there's no spaces, you'll have to wait till next year. And I hadn't even finished my exams at school. So it was 85, it was around May time, April, May, when I went down to do that. And I did that and I went, oh, well, I want to get in. I didn't want to be hanging around over what I'd class as summer holidays. Because I just knew, mates would, I came from Hartlepool, there was no jobs or anything like that. So I just said, I'll sod it, what's available? And they said, the artillery. Oh, what's that? Read this book. I'd like, that sounds great. They go, abseiling every year, and stuff like that. And it's all, they're going yachts and everything. They just showed me about the adventure training.
Yeah, there was
so I thought it was going to be great. Yeah.
Lots sold on the adventure training side of things.
Yeah, so I think, it was a bit of a shock. But when I got on, my gran was alive still at the time. And I told her the year before my granddad had died. And I told her that I'd got in the artillery and she was over the moon because it turned out my granddad was in a artillery unit, Searchlight Battery during the Second World War. So yeah, we had a bit of family history with that.
What?
So to carry on at Larkhill, you
end up
doing more courses at Larkhill then?
More courses, so as it was, I was on the basic signals course.
Yeah.
Within the school, and unfortunately, while I was on the course, my grandma passed. And I had a word with the padre, stuff like that, and I was taken back on the camp, and they basically said that it'd be too detrimental to take me away from the course to let us go attend the funeral, and the only way that I'd attend that would be to go AWOL. With them words, I walked off camp. I came back a fortnight later, and went up in front of the BC, the tried charge, and I said I was given permission. I said, What do you mean you were given permission? I said, the only way that they said you were going to get there is if you go AWOL. So I didn't wait for a response, I did.
And what happened? What did you get?
Nothing. They couldn't date us with anything.
You're lucky.
Oh yeah, very. I got held back for a bit longer. But
So, I mean, I can't remember how long Larkhill Phase 2 training is. It's a 3-4 month?
it is
Obviously it wasn't for you, yeah.
It was a bit longer for me. I met some characters there.
Yeah, I mean, Larkhill's one of them places where you get told you're going to go to on a course and everyone dreads going there because there's that many people there, and it's just, there can be a bit of bull when you're going there. But like you know, later on in my career, I ended up getting a posting there for 2 years, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved being there. But I mean, most of the time I wasn't in work; I was doing tug of war for the regiment. But that's a different story.
I've been posted there twice in my career for 2 years at a time.
So you left Larkhill, and what happened there? You went where?
left Larkhill and eventually came to join 39 Regiment in Newcastle.
Was that one of your choices, or was it you were just told you were going there?
I was told I was going there, and as it turned out, it was my home regiment. By this point, my family had moved back to Blythe,
Yeah.
so it was like 20 mile away from home, of which I never went to for 4 years. I prefer to stay on camp and be one of the lads.
Well, I mean, the thing is with UK regiments, I mean, I spent a lot of time in Germany, and I found that the regiments that are in Germany all were closer together. They were closer knit. I mean, when I come and joined 39 Regiment, I noticed a big difference in that regiment compared to where I come from. And it was just, I mean, literally, come Friday afternoon after CO's PT, that camp was empty. And there was nothing on it. There was nothing there for anyone.
Well, see, when I first got there, 176 battery were the battery that sort of the majority of the battery that lived in the block stayed in the block.
Yeah.
And we did everything together. So I had that close-knit relationship. But when I first arrived at the regiment, the battery was in Northern Ireland. So I was on gate duties for a couple of months.
So we were on rear party then while they were doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the day of my 18th birthday, got called up to the battery hangar. And I was asked what I knew about Northern Ireland. Said not a lot, and then read up, you're going out the night.
So you'd gone to, what do you call that place?
I went to Ballykinler to do...
Ballykinler, that's it. I was going to say Ballykelly, I don't know.
No, I went to Ballykinler to do my NIBAT training,
Yeah.
which consisted of training through the day and brown ale during the night.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, the less said about that, the better. So where were they? Where was the regiment at when we were in Ireland then?
At that point, they were in South Armagh, but they moved. They came back and then pretty much went out again straight away, and we took over Girdwood Barracks.
All right, okay. Any incidents there?
Something that I can't repeat on radio, what I said to Jeff Hood and Tony Blair.
Yeah,
when they
let's
came for a
not
visit.
go that. Well, I mean, you can if you want. I'm not bothered.
No, so it's punishment for something that I've done. I can't even remember what I did to be punished for. I was polishing a road sign, you know, the 20 mile an hour or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And I got told they wanted to see like the faces in the back of it mirror, like the artillery likes to, these sort of things. And someone came up behind me and said, do you feel valued in the job that you're doing? I'm like, do I? No, I'm just doing it because some person is visiting today. I think it's an absolute farce. It'd be the nicest way to put it. And it turns out the person that had asked us was Jeff Hoon, who was currently the Defence Minister. And behind him was Tony Blair.
Well, at least they got the answer they wanted. Well, probably not wanted, but hey.
And the CEO on the RSM.
Yeah, probably not good timing. But I mean, why would they let someone, let them go up and talk to you, basically?
So I did a bit more gate duty out there.
Yeah.
And a good few patrols, and then I returned back to England.
So, once you returned to England, you'd go back into normal routine then of like training, building up exercise, training. Did you do any more tours?
Yeah, pretty much straight away I attached myself to 5-7 Battery, who now aren't part of 39. Well, 39 doesn't exist as a whole anymore. And went out to Kosovo, where I spent 6 months in an ops post.
Was that interesting?
Yeah, we're using unmanned air vehicles out there, something that I'd never used before, and that was on the computer system, which I believe at the time was Bates.
Yeah, Bates. So Bates came in, that was the Battlefield Artillery Target Engagement System. It was supposed to be the be-all and end-all of artillery, and it was billions over budget and 10 years late, and it was shite. We used it mainly to send text messages to each other on Stag on night and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, it worked, and it was quick, but it was the stuff it replaced was ancient. It was from like Face. I mean, you won't know because you were MLRS regiment, so you wouldn't have dealt with Face and stuff like that.
No.
It was ancient. It was like valves. It wasn't like transistors. It was like coal in the back on the morning to warm it up to get it going in the afternoon. But Bates was replacing all that, and it was supposed to be brilliant. But like I was saying, it was just that. It was 10 years too late, and it didn't last that long. And it was good. You know, it did what it needed to do and stuff like that. People didn't really like it. They want that, the guys who were working on it and stuff like that. So in Kosovo, did you any incidents there? It was a fairly quiet tour for you.
Kosovo was a quiet tour for me. For the regiment, it was. There was a few instances in, but it was just the lads being lads. At one point, the BC disowned the battery because we were there as a battery, but
so these aren't like really they're not war stories, really.
No. We were there as a battery, but the BC was in charge of the regiment that was also there, which was 40 Reg.
Yeah. And
there was one incident one night where basically fire extinguishers got set off, the alarms for the whole camp were going, they had everyone on parade throughout the whole camp, and the only soldiers covered head to toe in foam were his.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, so...
it happens with every regiment, you know, at some point. But, you know, it's part of military life, really.
It is. It's character building stuff.
At the time, it's a bit naughty, but look back on fondly later on. Even the BC probably looked back and thought, Jesus Christ, what, you know. So we came back from Kosovo, back to Northumberland. And then where was it from there? Oh, enjoy the beer.
So once I got back to the regiment, basically, I was told that I'd missed the shot for like the Carter courses, and that people that knew that people come into the regiment since I was there, so I was kind of held back a bit. So I was just waiting around for the next tour or the next course. I did a lot of time on the front gate.
Which doesn't help your career.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't get you seen, and people just see you sitting back as if, he's useless, type of thing. So I know you went back to Larkhill. So what happened there? How did that come about?
The first time was again, I've not put myself in a good light. There was I'd injured myself. Christ, was it before Kosovo or after? Must have been after Kosovo. I'd injured myself, and I was coming back from an injury, and we had CO's PT on a Friday. It was beat the CO and the RSM in. Are you going again? My fitness was never really great, but I could keep up.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Anyway, got back to the gym towards the end of it, and I think the RSM ran the last mile with us. And I fell in, I got put into a group for people to go again. And then there was people that came behind me, mainly like Remy and people like that were there, and they fell back in with the batteries, and I decided to question it. Which, this is a running pattern throughout my career, and I had an opinion early, and I questioned it quite often.
At the wrong time.
At the wrong time, and at this point, it happened to be like when they had a Palladium sort of thing set up for the CEO to give his speech, and it was picked up on the main microphone. So, after a bit of re-corrective training in the gym for a couple of hours, I was sent to see my, I'm trying to think of his title, BSM, who was a very nice man, and informed me that basically I'd messed up, and the regiment would like to see me progress into a position down at Larkhill, where I went to the Brigade HQ.
Oh yeah, you went to Warminster first, wasn't it? Not
HQ Land Command Wilton.
Yeah, so yeah, makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So you've got soldiers that you would consider that might be a bit naughty and a bit, we want to get them out of the way. Typical army, innit? Just sweep them under the carpet, throw them somewhere else. We'll send them to HQ Land Command, where they'll be seen by everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, it wasn't just 3-9 that did that, but the regiments do it as well.
No, so I spent a year living on the HQ Line Command, and it was a different place because it was all officers there. There was very few lower ranks, so they had like a kitchen that you could pretty much have 24-hour access to. We had phones in the rooms and we could bring down for food, and they didn't know your rank. So I must say, a few times after I'd been out for a night out, I did bring them a few times for a plate of chicken nuggets and chips.
Fair enough. And they got them.
Yeah.
Oh well, you can't moan at that, can you? So you did a year down there, and then back to.
I was nearly 3 years at
Oh right, okay.
yeah, nearly 3 years with Army Brigade HQ.
So
During
you
that.
just a driver.
No, I was there. There's like signaller. I did my Lance Jacks course while I was there.
Right.
So
did you go back to 39 to do that, or?
No, I did it as Brigade HQ. When I was at Brigade HQ, I did my Lance Jacks course from there.
Well, they ran a Carter course there.
They ran a Carter course within 3-2 Reg.
So you went to 3-2 Reg to do it.
I attached myself to 3-2 for the Carter course, but under the title of Brigade HQ, not under 3-9 Reg.
So did you get promoted down there? Was that when you got back to
Promoted was a long time later. As I said, I had an opinion and I used to use it quite often.
Yeah, I mean, my own promotion didn't really come around very quick either. I was a gunner for 10 years before I got promoted, and I think they just felt sorry for me. So you spent 3 years down there, then it was back to Albemarle, back to 3-9 Regiment.
But again, while I was there, I learned lots. I did multiple exercises out in Germany. Arcade Fusion.
Yeah.
Was out there 3 times. I helped out with the map and layout, like creating the maps for the planned war. That's what happened while we were there.
Yeah.
And we did a adventure training. We went to Lake Garda in Italy. Did a lot of mountain climbing with who was the brigade commander then, Colonel Knightley, who was the CEO of 3-9 when I first got joined up.
All right, okay. So it swings away. You come round in a circle with them.
Oh, I came around the circle, and the officer who was in charge of me in Kosovo was the wife of the BC from HQ Line Command. So everything sort of like came full circle.
Fair enough. So after that, back to 3-9, then did a stint at 3-9, and then you went back to Larkhill.
After I came back to 3-9, did a stint in 3-9 when I was mainly working in the stores.
Yeah.
By this point, I'd returned. I was put into 5-6 battery.
Yeah, so headquarter battery, yeah.
Headquarters battery, and there was one day that I was down doing battery runner, and there was a phone call came to the battery office which I picked up, and they were asking for the whereabouts of a gunner Bales. Like, that's myself. Like, where are you? I'm like, well, you've just rang. I'm obviously in the battery office. You're meant to be in Afghanistan with us. It was 176, basically. When I was brought back, I was meant to be put back in the Abus.
Oh, this is when I was in the RCMO's office.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, I kind of remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was attached to 5-6, where I shouldn't have been. I was meant to go back to 176 or 3-5. I can't remember which it was at the time.
So, when did you go back to Larkhill? That was before that.
That might have been on my second return from Larkhill.
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
think
thinking
you've
of
got the timeline a bit wrong there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you came back from Larkhill after I joined the regiment.
Yeah. When did you join the regiment?
2006.
Right. So I went back to Larkhill 2005.
Yeah, that makes sense.
2004, 2005.
I think you were slow down on MPs, mate.
It's only my second.
I know, exactly.
brain-
So I remember you coming back to the regiment. I mean, you were a Lance Jack then. So did you get promoted to go down to Larkhill? Or?
I got promoted prior to Larkhill.
Yeah. When you're going down there, you had to be a Lance Jack to do that job, didn't you?
Yeah, I had to be a Lance Jack to do that job, but I got promoted like way before
Yeah.
Larkhill was in the periphery. Aren't you?
So you did another 2 years down there.
A bit longer.
It's the story of your life, isn't it? They didn't want you back, did they?
You tell me. You're working in the RCMO's office at the time. I remember ringing you and asking you to return.
No comment. I couldn't possibly comment on that because I know the answer. But
I was stuck in a full screws course while I was down there, and they failed me out of it on the last day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that hit is pretty hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. It happened to me. I did my full screws course in Bosnia, and I got sort of off it. Basically, it was my own fault, down to fitness. And they were worried I wouldn't have been able to keep up on the final exercise, so they took me off the course, which was a bit of an annoyance. But
So
it happens.
I did the final exercise. I did all the practicing for the pass out parade.
Yeah.
And it was when they were going back through and looking at things, the officer in charge, and I can't for the life of us remember his name, said that when we're doing the it was the plan. A lot of the planning and stuff was based around Iraq and Afghanistan at the time,
Yeah.
of which I'd missed the tours on, so I didn't have the knowledge that some others did.
So you basically didn't have the operational experience.
I didn't have the
Well, they
operational
had.
experience, and he flunked us on that. What I found out not long afterwards, probably a couple of months after that course had finished, he got binned out of the army completely. But not before he screwed my career.
Yeah, screwed other people's careers up.
But yeah, there was nothing worse because at that time I was down Larkhill as provost staff, so I'd already had my full screw badges like sewn on
Yeah.
for like ceremonial duties, and I ended up being security for the parade that I was meant to be on.
That's a kicker.
Just a bit.
Yeah. Mind you, there was some perks at Larkhill for the old RP staff, I remember. Because when I was down there doing my 2 years, I used to watch the RP staff, and they used to like... one of the perks was when the races were on, they were doing like car park attendance and charging people to park the cars.
I can't say that happened while I was there.
Yeah, of course it did. No, I think they had to pay. They did have to pay to park the cars there. But obviously, one for you, one for me, one for you, two for me type of thing. Yeah, we all knew that happened.
I couldn't divulge.
Yeah, of course you couldn't. Right, so you done your time down at Larkhill, then you went back to 3-9, and then you left. You left the army. What happened there? Why? How?
A story that I'd rather not go into.
Oh, that's fine. You don't have to go fully into it. I mean, I know you left almost on medical grounds, wasn't it?
I left almost on medical grounds, but at the time I'd also stupidly been arrested for drink driving, been into court for that. I had to move back to camp because I already had a house in Stakeford, but I had to move back into camp and try and run that as well as being there, and they said that there was no room for us, so they put me in a room in the training wing, the training block behind 176.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Which was essentially the broom cupboard. It was a really thin, narrow room that had the really big old fat heating pipes.
Right. Okay. Just get
So-
your clothes on them.
My room was like a sauna,
Yeah.
but it literally was the cleaning cupboard. You could fit a single bed in, and then you had like maybe half a foot at the side of the bed,
Right.
and then the locker at the end. It was just a long, narrow room, and I was in there for a couple of months. Again, working back on the front gate.
So that probably helped your decision to leave as well. They didn't care.
Yeah.
So why should you, type of thing? Which is not really that surprising. People only tend to care about their own careers in the army, unfortunately, and they don't really. I mean, we've both seen it. So there's some really, really good people in the military for man management and stuff like that, and there's some dire people, and it's not until you look back later on that you think, well, that could have been handled differently and stuff like that.
But I mean, one way later on, everything's in hindsight.
Yeah, of course it is. But that's how you learn as well. Also reflecting back on stuff like that.
I wasn't a good soldier. I was an adequate soldier, but I wasn't good. I could do stuff to a standard, but I didn't excel.
Yeah, and there's a lot of soldiers like that. I mean, look at me. Christ, how long was I? I did 27 years, and got to the rank of full screen. I was no shining star, but I managed to keep in there for a while.
Yeah. But
So-
at the same time, I can remember back in... So, this is going back a good while. Wait, in 176. Well, no, sorry. So, in AFC Harrogate, because it was a school, essentially, because I was still 15.
Yeah.
I had to attend a year of school as well as doing military training. That's why the training went over a year.
Yeah, but it's a college.
On the first day, the history teacher, the military history teacher, said, "You're dyslexic." I nearly punched him. I didn't know what dyslexia was.
No.
And anyway, it was explained to us, I accepted it. Nothing more said. Then, fast forward a good few years, once I got to the regiment, I was in 176, I mentioned that. And they were like, "Oh, we'll have to stick you on some sort of course." So they'd send me once a week in full military kit, in a military vehicle, which I drove myself, a Land Rover, to Dalton College. Where
Yeah, because you had to be screened.
No, this was to do a course.
Right.
I'd had my screening back years before at AFC Harrogate.
Because I'm pretty sure when you come back to the regiment again, I had something to do with that. I had to get you some dyslexic stuff.
You might have had something to do with that, but what someone thought would be funny was to send us to Dalton College once a week in full kit, and I was stuck into a class with people with severe learning difficulties and Down syndrome, where I was doing stuff like bat, hat, cat.
I think I need a bit of that now. But I mean, I don't think that was. I think that's just unfortunate. I think.
In mid-20s,
Yeah.
as a soldier, it was downgrading, and it put me. It just showed me the opinion that people didn't care. And, we'll do this for a laugh.
No, I don't think they would have done. I don't think they would have done because it wouldn't have been their choice, really. I mean, you know, the average reading age. I mean, when we were in or when I was in, we used to have to look at the education cohorts and stuff like that for the soldiers, and the average reading age was like 11 years old. You know, and that's not down to people being stupid. It's just that's the way it was. You know, and that's why. I mean, I noticed in the latter part of my career that education was pushed more and more. The old CLM when that came in and stuff like that. Well, you know, you have to have the education, have the career to do the courses and stuff like that. And it was pushed really hard, and it helped a lot of people. There's always people going to slip through the cracks, and you just dive through them yourself.
Well, the thing was, the CLM, that side of it, I set up part of it at Larkhill for people that were coming in after me. I was just unfortunate that I didn't get to do it myself. So I helped arrange and plan the courses for people on, and I went to the CLM training at, I believe it was Aldershot,
Yeah.
for the course, for the management of it. Because I was initially going to do the train the trainer once I came out. But it didn't come off.
So you decided to leave. Was
Yeah.
it a big decision, or did it?
It was an easy decision in the end. It wasn't the army that I joined in, and decisions were kind of getting made around me anyway.
So you couldn't. I mean, I know what you mean, and I remember it because I was there at the time. And there wasn't just you; there was other people as well. There was a lot of people who were getting basically told, "Do one." And the thing is, it was good in some ways because it was getting rid of some of the chaff. I mean, I'd more or less. I left before you, didn't I?
You left before me. I was
Yeah.
I was never formally told or even put in the way of do one. I went to get out under the voluntary redundancy.
Yeah. You didn't qualify for that, did you?
I did.
Did you?
I qualified for the voluntary redundancy, but then they found out about my medical condition, i.e. the allergy.
Yeah.
And with the issue of an EpiPen, they said it was a medical discharge, which voided the redundancy. So I lost out on the payout.
Didn't know that. You never told us that.
Got 10 grand time served, where I should have got about 75 grand.
You'd only drank it.
Possibly. Could have got a house.
No, you wouldn't have.
I could have got 3 houses around here.
Yeah, true. You'd have just drank it. I would have done. So you got out, and I remember you moving to Bedlington,
Yeah.
just round the corner from me, which was cool. And that's where I think we became close friends. We kind of knew each other in the army, but I wouldn't say we were like close friends or
No,
like that.
in the army I probably popped round your house 1 or 2 times after we were being kicked out of the Naffy bar or,
Like everybody else did as well, yeah.
or returning from town and the lights were on.
Yeah. Party house, wasn't it? Many a time I'd walked out to the garden and we'd sat down to have a drink in the garden and somebody just walked through the gate. You know, like, seemed like, oh, yeah, crack on. So you end up living in Bedlington. Like I said, it was just around the corner from me. You weren't working at the time, were you?
No, I was struggling to find work. For 8 months I probably went heavy into the drink. Just couldn't get a job anywhere. Went to the careers office, went to the job centre, and they were treating me like I'd never had a job in my life. Said that I had to sign for 21 jobs a week, otherwise I get sanctioned, which means I wouldn't get any pay.
Yeah.
There wasn't 21 jobs worth applying for. Then I saw that there was jobs for support workers, which I didn't fully understand what it was. But started applying for them and got told like I had no qualifications. So why was I applying for that job? So I said, well, give me the qualification or put me on a course where I can get it, essentially. And eventually they did. But in the meantime to this, I'd
You started working on the doors.
I started working on the doors. I got in with one of the other lads that had left the army a few years before, who'd set himself up in the security business and did my doors licence and did a couple of years working on the doors with him.
You've got other trades, though, haven't you? I remember you did was it the Undertaker's course or something?
Yeah.
And a pub course or something? I think you did the pub course just to go on a piss for 2 weeks.
So, because of the time that I'd served, I did get resettlement.
Yeah.
And I was looking at doing something with the Undertakers because I thought it's a job that's always going to be there. People are always going to die.
Well, yeah.
But at the time, I looked for jobs with Undertakers. All the family-run ones around here said you need to go for something more. One of the franchise ones,
Like the Co-op or something like that.
like the Co-op essentially. So I went for the Co-op in Blythe, interviewed for them. But at the time, I was banned from driving.
You're still banned from driving then?
I was still banned from driving then. So I couldn't do what the job required at the time, which was picking up bodies as they dropped. And
No, I've got family who runs
Yeah.
under. I know exactly. I know all about it.
cleaning out the hearse and doing stuff like that because I couldn't get there. I couldn't rely on buses and taxis.
No, I mean, it'd be a bit of a shock for the family. You rock up with a taxi. Well, it'd be a shock for the taxi driver. Just throw him in the back, he'll be all right. Or taking a cadaver on the bus. There might be some logistical problems with that.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Going back a little bit. To you mentioned, about resettlement. Hang on, my turn for a beer. Thank you. So going back to resettlement, did you find it useful? Did you find the process of resettlement helpful? You had to go down and do that thing in Catterick. You had to go down to Catterick and do stuff like that there. I can't remember what they called it. It's been 12 years, nearly 12 years since I did mine.
I found it useful for other aspects, so yeah, I do think if you've
Apart
got...
from just time off work.
No. So, the person that was running the course down there was an ex-police officer, quite high up, and he'd said, had I took my case to the Crown Court rather than the magistrate, I would have probably walked away with my licence because they had no evidence of me ever driving.
I remember you telling me the story. We probably won't go into it on here. Maybe we'll do a drunken night podcast or something like that where we'll tell stories that shouldn't be told and decide whether to put that online or not. Yeah, you were banged to rights, mate. There's no.
Yeah.
It wasn't as if you hadn't done it.
No, in hindsight,
and everyone makes mistakes.
Oh, exactly, and I mean, your mistakes inform how you move on.
Yeah. But with go back to resettlement, did you find the process helpful?
I can't remember much about the resettlement, like actually going to the course. Just the courses that I did off the back of it.
Yeah.
which I did the pub landlords course.
Was it a licensed vitulous course or something like that? Or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I also did 2 weeks in Manchester as a locksmith. So
Oh yeah, I remember that one now. Yeah, because you came back and bought all the kit, didn't you?
no, I got given all the kit as part of the course.
You've still got it, haven't you? Sell
Yes.
it. Sell it.
You can't legally sell it, and you've got to report it that you've got the kit to the police because you've essentially got kit to break into
You
people's
should
houses.
sell it though. You couldn't even open my shed door.
I couldn't even open my car when I broke down the roundabout. Ended up
So-
smashing the window with a brick.
So you went from. I know you were waiting on the doors over in Morpeth and that, weren't you?
Morpeth, Blythe was a main one.
I didn't know you did Blythe. I thought you just did Morpeth.
No, I only did Morpeth once or twice. Shenanigans, which is
Yeah, I think they were your more memorable ones because they're the ones you've told me about.
yeah, and Blythe, I worked on the key there. Was it the key? Yeah. Worked on the key in Blythe, but my main one was Donny's at Hexham, which is where...
That's right. I meant Hexham, not Morpeth. Yeah, I meant Hexham.
But no, I did actually work at Morpeth once or twice.
Yeah. So I know you spent quite a lot of money in McDonald's on your way home after a shift. As you did tell me about that a lot. So after doing the doors, you ended up working in care, and you worked for a firm up in Alnwick.
Yeah, so when I was on the doors, I met a bloke called Zaid who worked during the day as home care, and he was telling us about support work, and he himself was trying to basically start his own business in the home care sector, and he was trying to get us to come in with him, but I didn't have any money to like offset what he was putting into the business, so
Yeah.
but I like the idea of what he said, and at the time was when I was still having to look for jobs with the Dole, and I was applying, and I eventually got put onto the level 1 health and social care.
Yeah.
During that course, probably, it was only a week-long course, very basic, but 3 days into it, I got an interview for a company called Time to Care. During that interview, the manager at the time had said, because I mentioned that I'd been in the forces, he said, one of our interim managers, he was in the forces, you might know him. And I said politely, currently there's 120,000 people in the forces. The chances of us knowing this person are pretty much slim to none. And in walks one of my full screws from 10 years ago. Interview ended and
You got the
got
job.
the job.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it just seemed like fate was aligning me to go that way.
I remember you starting working there, and you enjoyed it initially.
I loved it.
Yeah.
That manager left. Another manager took over and we didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah, it's just the way it is, really, isn't it? I know you enjoyed working, with the people you were working with, looking after. You moved on from there after that.
Oh, massively so. From the back of that, I was at Technica, I will say they put us through my level 2, my level 3 MVQs.
Yeah.
Or I put myself through them while I was with the company. I was just starting my level 5 because level 4 had got wiped out at that point, so level 5 was the management MVQ.
Yeah.
But as I said, I didn't particularly get on with the manager, and then another manager came in who didn't run the company that great either, and decisions were made, and I decided to leave, and I applied for a job with the NHS, which I didn't know anything about at all, and that got me working at a secure children's unit at Newcastle.
Sorry, what?
Children's forensic unit at Newcastle.
Forensic?
Criminal past.
That's better. I was going to say that. Forensic. They're all dead or something. Oh. So that's the secure unit in Newcastle. Yeah. And how did that go?
Thoroughly enjoyed my job.
And you carried on in that field now for the last few years as well?
Yeah, carried on that field since starting there. Obviously, due to confidentiality, I can't go much into what I do there.
No, obviously, yeah.
But no, from day one, I'd said that I wanted to be a nurse. many years before in the army, I'd wanted to go down the nursing route, but got told I was too thick. And I didn't have the courses, which granted, I didn't have the courses because when I was at school, I didn't excel. And then later I found out, say I was dyslexic, so that kind of answered that side of things.
So, I mean, you've done your life learning a different way.
Oh, yeah. I've
So
done my
you've
life
got
learning
to do
back to
that.
front.
Yeah.
I don't
The,
take the easy path with anything.
Well, no, obviously. So you decided to do or apply for the nursing degree. Do you think, before we move on to that side of it, do you think that at any point, since you'd left the army up until like you're going for your nursing degree, do you think that being a veteran, and I'm never too fond of using that term, veteran, because to me, veterans are like from the Second World War.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you know,
They're all
in
low
reality,
blokes,
we
but-
both are type of thing. I always consider the word veteran to be like,
No, but it's now, even if someone says, oh, we need an adult, I'll be looking around for someone older than me. I don't feel like
I mean, I'm ancient and I'd never feel my age. But do you think that, like, being a veteran has helped you since you left the military? Or do you think that it could have hindered you in certain ways? Did people treat you differently once they found out that you used to be in the army? Or did it not mean a job? I mean, I found, personally, that, you know, I'd be introduced to people in my job and stuff like that, and they'd say, oh yeah, how long have you been doing this? And I'd say, I've already been doing it for so many years before that I was in the army. And they just weren't interested whether I was in the army or not.
I mean,
to us, it was a big part of our lives. To civilian people, they don't give a toss.
not going to understand what you're saying to us. It was our lives. It's not really considered, or if it was, people would be like, oh, I would have joined the army, but I couldn't have stood someone shouting at us, I would have hit them. Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
I don't
no, you
know,
wouldn't.
Yeah, I was going to join the army. I was going for that. Well, why didn't you? You know, I was going to become an officer. No, you weren't. I've had that a few times where people have said stuff. They say, no, I was going to join this. No, you weren't.
But no, the ethos of what the army instilled into us, I still carry forward today. The punctuality, I wouldn't call it perfectionism, but just trying to get the fine detail down.
Yeah. I mean, how can I put it? I mean, you've said it to me before that the NHS is not too dissimilar
Oh, it's not.
to the military.
It's a
in the way
military
it
under a
works.
different name. It's got the rank structure. It's got the pay scale. It's got the same problem with hierarchy that the military has.
There are far too many of them.
Yeah.
So going now on to your nursing degree. So you've your nursing degrees. You're going to be, what is it, a mental health nurse?
Learning disabilities. So I applied for it 3 times. First 2 times I got knocked back. But it was a lesson. It taught me basically perseverance, to keep on going for it. It was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And the 3rd time I did it, I didn't think that I got it, and I had.
You just ground them down, didn't you?
Possibly. I passed, but they said the proviso of us doing the nursing degree was I had to see a psychologist because they had no paperwork for my dyslexia assessment from
Yeah.
many, many years before. And it was during that assessment with the psychologist that I found out I'm not dyslexic.
Right. Okay.
So-
just stupid.
No, what they said...
Sorry.
Fine. No, what was said is I've got a non-specific learning disability. I've got slow cognitive processing
Yeah.
and a lot of autistic tendencies. And now when I look back in hindsight to things that happened in the army and how I was and how I approached life, things sort of click into place.
Yeah. No. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and unfortunately, we're all guilty of not recognising that in other people, because especially in something like the military, it's a closed environment. You don't get to really meet people who suffer from it, and if they do, you don't know.
But it was like I could have been out on a battery do or in town with 40 other blokes that I was in a part of the team with. They were my family, and I'd still feel like an outsider looking in, but I never expressed that to the people at the time.
Yeah, because you just think you're weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
And
exactly
as I say,
what you mean. The social awkwardness sometimes.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, the social awkwardness. And just the way that I approach things. And how I'm quite sensory with things. And now I'm doing quite well tonight, I think. I'm not fidgeting.
No, you are, but you're not as bad as you think.
But doing this course and doing what I've been doing with uni, it's taught us that I've been given a lot of coping mechanisms in ways around doing things.
Yeah.
The coping mechanisms which I've created over the past 20 years. It's just over the last few years I've been more defined on what is actually up with me and how I can use it to better myself. So, for example, I've got essays that are due in May. I'm pretty much done with them. It's just tinkering now, where some people won't start last minute because that's how they like to do them. My brain won't allow me to do that. I've got to do it as early as possible.
Yeah.
And then tinker. But then I can tinker to the point where I then destroy it. So I've got to lock it away or hand it in.
No, I know what you mean.
Months earlier.
It's like the old thing if you're going on holiday and you pack it out. Like when we used to go on tour, you'd see people packing a kit up like weeks beforehand. I packed my kit the night before we went.
Yeah, exactly. For
And
tours and stuff like that.
I never used to forget anything. I found if I packed things early, I'd then go and think, I need that, or I don't, and you end up forgetting, losing things or whatever.
Well,
I suppose it's a similar type of thing.
For my tour for Kosovo, I turned up in civilian kit for the bus because I'd been on the drink the night before.
Yeah,
someone else had packed my bag, and
yeah, you didn't really help yourself much, did you? Right, I think it's time for us to wrap up on this. Really, we can always come back later on and discuss your NHS side of it if you want, unless there's anything else you want to discuss about that at the moment.
No, I'm happy where we are.
Yeah, I mean what I'm probably going to ask you now is to say leave that side of it. I'll talk about anything else that interests you. I mean, just so the people who are listening get a bit more of a feel for you, who you are, type of thing. Because they'll probably just listen to this coming through and think, yeah, God, he was fucking an idiot in the army, wasn't he? So, but he wasn't, honestly, he wasn't. He was a laugh. And everybody was. We all had a good time. I mean, I know your main interests are really...
My main interests are quite insular. Because of the social awkwardness, I keep myself to myself quite often. I have a large group of friends, but only few that I'll see often. And when I'm saying often, it might be once or twice a year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else is guilty of that. Yeah, me.
But yeah, I'm an avid watcher of movies. Suppose you could call us a geek. Love me Doctor Who. Anything along that side of things. And
so what do you think of the new Doctor?
I think it'd be good. I think they've gone down the woke side a bit, but I don't know. Russell T Davies has got a way of making it work. I don't think it'll be as bad as the last one. Not saying that she was terrible. I think the writing was bad for her.
And I don't want to sound a geek as well, but I think the first season of Jodie Whittaker doing it was rubbish. But again, I think it was the writing. But by the third one, I think I was enjoying it. Yes, people, I'm a Doctor Who fan as well. Me and Chris can go into some deep discussions on Doctor Who. We won't this time, but we can do it. No, we're not doing a Doctor Who podcast. There's plenty of people out there who knew far too much of it.
We could watch
it would make us stupid.
We could watch an episode and then review it.
That might be an idea. Tell you what, that might be an idea. We might do that tonight if we've had a few more beers. Well, anyway, I think we'll end it now. It's been great talking on this.
And it's been a pleasure, Andy.
And we'll do it again. We will do this one again. All right. So I'd just like to sign off now by saying thanks for listening. Thanks to Chris, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thanks for your help. Bye-bye now.